Memory is one of the most familiar aspects of being human. We recall faces, places, conversations, fragments of our past that shape who we are. But what happens when memory is no longer human? When it exists entirely in machines, in circuits, in clouds of data far beyond our reach? Every search we make, every image we upload, every message we send is stored somewhere, not in a brain, not in paper, but in the perfect, tireless memory of machines. Unlike our memories, these records do not fade, they do not distort, they do not dream. Yet, in their perfection, they raise a question. Can a machine truly remember, or is it merely recording what we forget? In this video, we explore the story of memory, not as it exists in humans, but as it exists in machines. The memory that now holds pieces of our lives forever. Long before machines, memory was fragile. It lived in the minds of people, passed through stories, songs, and symbols. For thousands of years, everything that mattered had to be remembered by someone. To forget was to lose entire generations of knowledge. Ancient storytellers and scribes carried history in their voices. Memory wasn't just personal, it was survival. Then came the first great shift, when humans began placing memory outside of the mind. Clay tablets, scrolls, books, libraries. Humanity built its first external hard drives, made not of metal and code, but of ink and stone. Writing allowed thoughts to outlive their creators. For the first time, ideas could persist without the people who made them. We had learned how to store memory in matter. Centuries later, that same idea evolved again. In the early 20th century, machines began remembering for us. Magnetic tapes, punch cards, film reels, devices that could record sound, image, and information perfectly and without emotion. Unlike us, these new forms of memory didn't need meaning to preserve truth. They captured everything exactly as it was, indifferent to beauty or pain. And with each invention, memory became a little less human and a little more mechanical, a shift that would eventually lead to something far greater, a form of memory that doesn't just record, it learns. The first true machine memory appeared in the 1940s, not in computers as we know them, but in enormous humming machines that filled entire rooms. One of the earliest was called the Williams tube. It stored bits of data as tiny electric charges on a cathode ray screen, the same technology used in old televisions. Each flicker of light on that screen was a single fragile thought. Then came magnetic drums, spinning cylinders coated with iron oxide. They could hold a few thousand characters, barely enough to store a single page of text. But at the time, it was revolutionary. By the 1950s, computers like the IBM 305 ROMAC introduced something extraordinary, the hard disk drive. Instead of remembering through light or static charge, it used magnetism, writing and rewriting data on spinning metal disks. Each advance made memory a little more stable, a little more permanent. What once had to be told and retold could now be stored, copied, and shared, untouched by time or human error. For the first time in history, forgetting wasn't inevitable. For decades, computers only remembered what we told them to. They stored numbers, words, and records, nothing more. But then came the internet. Suddenly, memory wasn't locked inside a single machine. It was shared, distributed across millions of devices, servers, and people. Every message, every search, every photo uploaded began to form part of a vast collective archive. We were teaching machines not just to store information, but to remember our lives. In the early 2000s, social media transformed this even further. For the first time, human memory had a mirror. one that never forgot. Algorithms began to predict what we might want to see, who we might know, even what we might feel. In a way, machines developed a kind of memory of us. Our joys, our mistakes, our passing thoughts, all preserved in code. Humanity had finally built something that remembers everything and forgets nothing. For most of history, forgetting was a mercy. Memories faded so that new ones could take their place. Entire generations could move on, unburdened by the past. But in the digital age, forgetting has become almost impossible. Every post, every photo, every search is archived somewhere. Our memories now exist outside our minds, scattered across servers and systems we don't control. Psychologists call it cognitive offloading, relying on technology to remember for us. It's convenient, but it changes how we think. Studies show that when we expect information to be stored digitally, we're less likely to remember it ourselves. We've traded recall for access. Yet this new kind of memory isn't neutral. It can be edited, deleted, or rewritten, not by us, but by algorithms. In trying to build something that never forgets, we may have created a memory that isn't just vast, but intelligent, a machine that can interpret, prioritize, and even rewrite what it remembers. For the first time in history, memory doesn't belong to the living. Artificial intelligence doesn't just store information. It learns from it. It forms connections, recalls patterns, and predicts outcomes. It remembers not through experience, but through probability. Each conversation, image, and click becomes another trace, not a memory as we understand it, but something more fluid, more abstract. Unlike a human mind, it doesn't forget. It doesn't dream. It remembers everything we feed it, even the things we'd rather leave behind. But here's the paradox. The more AI remembers, the less we know about how it remembers. Inside the neural networks, memory becomes unrecognizable, compressed, rewritten, optimized. When a machine recalls, it isn't replaying the past, it's reconstructing it piece by piece in real time. In that sense, AI memory isn't a vault, it's a mirror. It reflects us, our words, our biases, our history, and hands it back as something new. A memory that learns from us, shapes us, and perhaps one day remembers us better than we remember ourselves. One day, the boundary between human and machine memory may blur entirely. Our thoughts, our histories, even our emotions could live on, stored not in fragile neurons, but in code that never fades. Maybe the future won't ask what machines remember about us, but what we'll remember through them. A time when remembering isn't just human, but shared. A network of memories that never truly dies, only transforms. In the end, memory has always been our way of holding on to time, a fragile thread between what was and what still matters. Machines remember differently. Their memories don't fade, and they don't feel. They can store everything, but they don't cherish anything. Maybe that's what makes human memory so extraordinary. We forget, and in forgetting, we make space to begin again. The machine will remember what we give it. The question is, what will it value? Because memory was never just about storing the past, it's about deciding what deserves to live on. As machines inherit our stories, perhaps our task isn't to out-remember them, but to teach them why we remember at all. Because one day, when even our voices have faded, the memory of machines might still remember we were here.